So what we need to do now is we need to make sure that these icons appear from left to right. And much like we did with the little plus sign here for the hyperlink with these thumbnails, we want to essentially take the same approach by using the inline block value for the display property. But remember, here we have 3 icons and not just one, so we want to use the position property and set it to relative. What this will ultimately give us the ability to do is create a more perfect alignment, and in this case, that's what's needed. So let's first get our icons and text to appear from left to right, then we'll worry about styling the text. So let's come back to our HTML editors, and what we want to do is come back to style.css, and down here towards the bottom, we're going to write some pretty specific selectors. So I'm just going to press enter a bunch of times to add some space here, again, so it's easier for you to see. I'm going to go ahead and type in blog for the ID. Then we want to reference div.article. After that, it's going to be p.post-data. After that, we're going to have the anchor element and then span.ico. So pretty specific here. After doing that, inside of this selector, we want to set the display property, and we want that display property to be an inline block. After doing that, we want to set some margin values to space it out a bit. We're going to go with 0, 5 pixels, 0, 0. Then we want to set the position property to relative. And after doing that, we're going to set the top property to 2 pixels. The next thing that we want to do is basically space the icon and the text inside of the blog section. And so we're going to do that by writing, again, a fairly specific selector. I'm going to go ahead and copy a portion of this one. I'll go ahead and copy to the clipboard, Control-C or Command-C. I'm actually going to paste it just above right here. And we're going to go ahead and type in the margin property. And the margin property here will have a value of 0, 20 pixels, 0, and 0. Again, that's going to create the space between the icon and the text inside of the link. The other thing that we want to do is we want to set the text decoration. So go ahead and set that property to none, because right now it has a hyperlink and we don't want that. And we want to set the color to a hex code of AAA, which is a grayish steel blue type color. After doing that, what we want to do is set the font face for these text elements. So we're going to write a less specific selector. So again, I'm going to go ahead and copy this code here and paste it so we don't have to rewrite the selector. And what we want to do is use the font property, much like we've been doing in the past. So go ahead and type in font. And in this case, we want it to be set to normal. After setting it to normal, we're going to set the size to 12 pixels with a leading or line spacing of 16 pixels. And then we want to set the font face to Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. So that's going to be the font stack that we're going to use for that. And of course, we also want to set the color. And the color in this case will be AAA as well. Make sure you put a pound sign there. In this case, it doesn't really matter because the only text actually resides within an anchor element, so it would be AAA anyway. The final thing that we want to do is we just want to add a hover pseudo selector. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this rule definition right here, and we can paste it, and we can add the hover pseudo selector for the anchor element. All we want to do is change the color. So I'm going to go ahead and type in color, and the color we want to change it to is black. So the hex code there is going to be #000. So that should just about do it. Go ahead and save style.css, save the index page, go ahead and preview it in Safari or Chrome. When you do, when you scroll down, you should see those icons in line. When you mouse over the link, it should turn black. So that's perfect. I think we're just about done with this section. And when I say this section, I'm not only referring to the blog section, but the page section as a whole. So you can see that we're making pretty good progress here. We've just about converted the entire PSD file into HTML. The last element that we have to deal with is down here towards the bottom, which is the footer. and that's what we're going to take a look at in the next chapter.